An age is called dark, not because the light fails to shine, but because people refuse to see it. And there stands the tree,
an insignificant figure that lurks on the sidewalk,
a shriveled structure that bears sour fruit,
a silent witness to the bitter events of its surroundings,
a lowly companion of the school that shares its every moment,
old,
withered,
forgotten,
and yet it stands.
Like the school that it has grown up with, it remains.
After enduring the battering of countless storms and the deafening silence of moonless nights.
This is the tale of a young tamarind plant, an inconspicuous plant thriving among the few other plants in the bush bordering the sidewalk of Gorordo Avenue across the UPCC administration building. It had no state of prominence, but it stood witness to the birth and development of what was then UP High School in Cebu. That was 1972.
With the mission of saving UP at Cebu as an external unit of UP Diliman from the threat of eventual closure, then UP High School at Cebu was to pave the way for the undergraduate programs that were soon composed along with the development of the school. The academic divisions that enabled the entire unit to earn the status of a full-fledged college. Soon, it later became a component college of the University of the Philippines in the Visayas.
As it initially opened in 1972, the 120 first-year and second-year students had the entire 145-hectare campus all to themselves. They were free to explore the rich, natural, and unpolluted environment, and they had the unconditional management support of UP Diliman as its then mother unit. Little, if ever at all, was there any feeling of risk. They were oblivious to any imminent danger, as unmindful as they are to the young tamarind plant.
Years rolled by. Faces have changed. Batches of students have graduated. New ones came in. Then, in 1984, the entire high school had to be totally relocated where the tamarind plant exists. And since then, both the high school and the tamarind plant grew and developed side by side. But still, it remains unnoticed until it started to generously offer its sweet, sour fruits and became the students' and passers-by's delight and shade as hot summers sit in.
Indeed, what used to be an inconspicuous-looking young plant became a strong and prominent tamarind tree. It continued to bear fruits and provide shade until such function was taken over by the covered walk. Meanwhile, the school reaped awards and recognitions as expected. The tree, on the other hand, withstood the storms of time and the hostilities of nature.
Then it was 1986. The people power was an event to remember in the history of the Filipinos, and likewise, it was to the UP High School Cebu. Shortly after assuming her office, then President Corazon Aquino signed into law providing for free high school education for all Filipinos, including all those high schools managed by state schools, colleges, and universities. Unfortunately, UP High School, which by their own charter used to collect tuition fees, had to face the harsh reality of losing income as a consequence. While it used to source out some of its requirements from the tuition fees collected from its students, it suddenly had no source of funding.
How then could it survive? Could UP, without additional funds from the government, sustain the financial requirements of a non-earning academic program of the high school? Could the high school justify its existence?
Two pressing issues had to be resolved. First, the issue and the relevance of a high school program of the university being a higher institution. And second, the issue on funding.
On the issue of relevance, a tough intellectual battle had to be won for approval by the Board of Regents. And so, the battle had to be led. In 1988, then Faculty Regent Francisco Nemenso Jr. strongly faced the Board of Regents and defended the existence of the UP High School. And he did successfully defend it. But the board approved it with a corresponding mandate of serving the unprivileged sector of the community, the poor. And since then, the UP High School has become the democratized access of the unprivileged to quality education.
But the issue on funding remained unsolved. The reality of financial predicament had to be proactively addressed. And through its own initiative, the Parent Teachers Association of 1988 offered its collective voluntary rescue solution. And while it did not totally solve the issue on budget, it did sustain partly the financial requirements of the high school.
Such rescue offered by the PTA was highlighted in a ceremonial gesture which coincided in a Christmas celebration of hope for the high school. In December 1988, concerned parents and benefactors from the community pledged support to the high school.
And such pledge was symbolized by the lighting of a bulb, each of which had a sponsor. And so, the bulbs beautifully lighted a chosen tree, the Tamarind tree. And there stands the tree of hope. And so, as the tree of hope was lighted, all were in prayerful hope for the continued existence of UP High School Cebu.
Years have passed, priorities have changed. The school has downsized, and the threat of closure still looms large. But just like the tree, the school has remained, reaping even more awards and recognitions. And as long as even a few good people will stand up to the cause and toil and fight for the existence of the high school, it will remain.
And for your tireless and undying support, our beloved parents, to you we offer this light, O bearers of hope.
Thank you, dear parents. You have kept our light shining. Your light shines in each one of us.
And together we shall light 1,000 lights to keep the hope alive. And after 21 years, the tree of hope will be lighted once more in the tree of hope once again shines.
It will remain.